Okay, here's a 10 kilowatt Bergey that's been pulled 1,000 miles with a Subaru Forester. It's placed on a 5x8 wire mesh floor, handy little trailer, and here's your galvanized boom. Here's the 10 kilowatt Bergey with the top pin in place with the rings for tying. That's how it was lowered by the forklift. You lower it temporarily onto a 3/4 inch plywood, mark the 12 bolts, and then drill with 1-inch drill so they all poke through, and you bolt 4 of them at least with the rubber gaskets and the washers to a torque sufficient that you can't remove it with a socket by hand. So it's nice and firm, but you don't want to crush the plywood. The plywood lays on 4x4s that go all the way across and meet up to 4x4s that cover from crossbar to crossbar. So underneath these 4x4s are the trailer crossbars. And I joined these with plywood strips on each side because I bought a 2x4 sample 3/4 inch plywood at Home Depot, but ideally you'll cut yours to be the full 5 feet to sit on top of the 4x4 frame. And lag screws and fender washers, and you can see if they've loosened up during your trip by trying to rotate them. None of these rotate, so they stayed in there. They're probably 4.5 inch lag screws, at least 4 inch. And then sheetrock screws I did into this. And you've got bubble wrap. You've got a bag, a 3-foot wide bubble wrap bag that's beauty. It keeps the rain out of here. You don't want rain coming in on your trip. And it tightens up, lets these, there, one more click. I clicked it a few times during the trip. And there's room in the back for the fin. Again, fender washers and bolts. These were rusted, so they weren't coming out. This one I wrapped with electrical tape to keep it from wiggling. This broke probably on the way up here after the long trip. It was abrading against this. And keep your top plate bearing as much to the rear as you can to reduce air resistance during your trip. It's off center. It's built off center, so you're not gonna get it completely out of the way. On a 14-inch wide plywood, we have the 3 blades that are wrapped in moving pads in between them, and then duct taped, and then laid on there, and then tied on with rope. And it sits on the front here. And we sheetrock screwed this 14-inch plywood base to the 4x4 frame. So this is loading. This is the whole Bergey 10 kilowatt. And the weight of it, 1,500, 1,600, whatever. Didn't have time to stop at a scale. It's loading this 2,000-pound axle sufficiently to make it very smooth. It goes up and down as a whole unit, no bouncing, very stable. The weight of the Bergey obviously is from here on down. There's your weight. This is all lightweight stuff. So your center of gravity on this load is very low. Makes for a very pleasant pull. What can I say? Having a four-wheel drive car, pulling it, just gives it that much more stability, and if you run into ice or snow, you shouldn't have any problem. That's it.